So it's a belated 10 minutes late. It's 1900 hours GMT on Monday, the 10th of August 2020. We have been held up by the need to check the facts in order to get the criminal identities right. This is the front page of the East London Idiotizer, Thursday, the 21st of November 2019. That was the just 3 weeks before the surrender by Jeremy Corbyn to Boris Johnson. That election should never have been called, and Corbyn, a secret Brexiteer, colluded with Johnson and handed him the election. That election should never have been happening for another 2-3 years. It was the stupidity of Jeremy Corbyn's, not his secret extremist alliances with the unknown foreign countries or powers, but his brazen stupidity that gave that election over to Johnson. This is the stupid Morning Scar dated the 23rd to the 24th of March 2019, which is more than a year ago. And they're brazenly, ignorantly, stupidly celebrating a completely non-significant and non-legal, non-win event. That is absolute lie. And we shall come to that later in this bulletin. This is an exclusive bulletin diagnosing today's horrendous height of racist hatred that has been fomenting, inciting intolerance of people of African and Asian origin in this country by using the cover of the Migrants Crossing from France to England. And the BBC has become the platform round the clock for the racist haters and inciters. As they began the breakfast edition this morning, coinciding with Boris Johnson giving a speech in Essex, threatening to change the British law to stop the stupidity of the Migrants Crossing. Now, this is very important. Boris Johnson keeps talking about the law, keeps blaming the law, and yet here is Cummings, the brazen breaker of the law that defied every single conceivable utterance by Boris Johnson of any respect or regard for the law. So, Boris Johnson does not have a track record of being relied on or trusted even 1% of the times when he talks about the law. And we shall come to the law again. He said that he would scrap the legal aid system in order to teach a lesson to those who secured a procedural stage of an application by Shamima Begum. He said he would scrap the legal aid system. The legal aid system has already been scrapped. But just to make absolutely clear for those who still claim that legal aid is ever received by the litigant in whose name the legal aid is issued. It never is. The legal aid is essentially aiding the lawyers who are licensed law traders, and that is the basis on which they get the legal aid granted as their fees, regardless of their performance, regardless of the outcome of the case they get the legal aid for, the legal fee. So Boris Johnson saying that he would scrap the legal aid is completely ignorant. Those who pander to the myth that Boris Johnson is a Latin speaker are idiots. Latin is a language just like English or any other, and you can be stupid in that language as well. So Boris Johnson speaking Latin doesn't make him intelligent or clever or honest, which is the most important test. So today he's saying that he's going to change the law. How many laws is he going to change? And if he does that, how long is he going to be doing that for? Because there are so many laws, so many instruments, so many parliamentary instruments, statutory instruments that will take more than 5 years. And in less than 5 years, Boris Johnson is most likely to be out of number 10 Downing Street. And the Tories, fronted by Boris Johnson, are likely to be losing the 80 plus or about 80 members of parliament majority. And things are going to likely to get far worse. If the pandemic is not controlled and dealt with, and Boris Johnson behaves in the same ignorant way that he has done in the last 6 months, then Boris Johnson will be out far sooner than 5 years or 2 years or 3 years or whatever the number of years that he thinks he will be in power for, based on the outcome of the 12th of December 2019 election that he was handed by Jeremy Corbyn, as I said at the start of this program. Today, the entirety of the racist British mainstream media, led by the racist BBC, has been about the migrants. And all they can show, the maximum number of migrants they have been able to show, is a dinghy full of not more than 30 or 40 or 50. It is not the kind of image that their coverage has conjured up in the minds of the gullibles. And so therefore, Boris Johnson's propaganda is being done by the BBC, and Boris Johnson is absolutely ahead of Nigel Farage in fomenting racist hatred against the migrants. And that means the image of the migrants is the image of the Asians, the Africans in this country as ordinary members of society and community. So this is like stopping any Chinese looking person in the streets of England within days of the news coming that the COVID or the coronavirus originated in China, and beating them up or threatening them or harassing them in the street. So that is the impact of the image in the public, gullible public's consciousness. And that is the reason why Corbyn, being absent from the front line of the opposition to this hysteria of racist hatred, is very significant, because it is not against just those particular individuals pictured as migrants. According to the reports today, most of them, the migrants, have been from Syria. And if that is the case, then it is the British involvement in creating wars in that part of the world that is responsible for the people wanting to flee those war-torn places where there have been massacres. There are being massacres continuing, hunger, famine continuing. So Boris Johnson's racist incitement against the migrants should have been countered by Jeremy Corbyn, a free backbench member of the Labour Party, he should not have been silent. Yet he has been silent, as far as I can see, as far as can be traced by the appearances of any references on the media. So who is speaking for the Labour Party? Karma? Starmer? Charmer? No chance. The Shadow Foreign Secretary. Who is the Shadow Foreign Secretary? It is the over-promoted, corrupt opportunist, stooge, Lisa Nandi, not her. So who is talking about the Home Office, Home Secretary? Who is the Shadow Home Secretary? I have no clue. Whoever it is has been silent. And Priti Patel, the daughter of an immigrant family from Africa with Indian Gujarati origins, has been fronting the parade against the immigrants coming to this country. I mean, how much more absurd can things be? I mean, when Sajid Javid, as I said earlier today, was complaining that he was being called a coconut, I spoke at the Altabali Park on the 4th of May 2018, and I told him that if he stopped behaving like a coconut, nobody will call him a coconut. Now, if Sajid Javid was a coconut, then Priti Patel is something even far worse, something that shouldn't have been necessary to even imagine. But she is even worse than Sajid Javid, the coconut. And the headlines today, the main headlines in the so-called main newspapers and websites, including the ITV News, Evening Standard, are about the so-called migrants crossing the channel and the absolutely dishonestly painted saint Boris Johnson decrying that as stupid and criminal, as if he has been intelligent as the Prime Minister and he has been not stupid and not bad and not dangerous. I mean, letting 50,000 people die by intentionally withdrawing care or intentionally misleading them and taking away the resources from their carers or potential carers is the stupid, bad criminality that should be punished and accounted for. Instead, there are 50 or 30 or 40, whatever number in the dinghy or in the boat, desperate escapees from war zones created by Britain with collusion, active complicity of Priti Patel and Boris Johnson, are being blamed. For what? He doesn't say why it is stupid. He doesn't say why it is criminal. He says it's stupid and criminal. And the gullibles are apparently open-mouthed to swallow this kind of rubbish, hateful rubbish that is absolutely suicidal for the society. And Corbyn is exposed today, this weekend, as a stupid, unfit for purpose pretender to be the leader of the opposition. And I say that on the evidence, not because I have an agenda against him. There is no need for having an agenda against Jeremy Corbyn. He is the agenda against himself. So, the people who say that Corbyn for Prime Minister was the biggest missed opportunity this country has ever had, they are ignorant of the risks to ordinary people's safety and security and rights that come if there is a man like him in post, in power. I witnessed throughout the period of Michael Foot in the post of leader. And before that, I suffered Michael Foot as the employment minister in the Callahan regime. And Michael Foot was routinely exposed as doing the wrong things from the perspective of a social democratic kind of agenda. So Michael Foot has been kind of overly praised as an intellectual and as an intelligent person, which he might have been. But when he was in power, in post, either as a government minister or as the leader of the opposition, Michael Foot completely failed to articulate and advocate a comprehensive, complete, current, everyday narrative, agenda, outline against the conservatives. And so the story goes on. When Kinnock, the Welsh windbag, which is being used here, not in a racist way, but his origin from Wales, and windbag is because he talks too much, and he talked too much and too much rubbish. Kinnock and Prescott, and the likes of them discredited the idea of the Labour Party as a fit-for-purpose party in Parliament ready for government. And they made all kinds of mistakes, serious mistakes. And Prescott especially completely vindicated this analysis when he became a minister for the environment, DEFRA minister in Tony Blair's regime. It was Prescott who was employed as the bully to bully Tower Hamlets Council and others to transfer the housing stock over to Popular Haque and other criminal gangs. So what we are witnessing today about the spectre created of the migrants taking over England, coming across from the Channel, from France to England, is a spectre that is caused also by the Labour Party and its history and its leadership, misleadership. We shall be continuing after this introduction in the next part.